Verses 17-54. We have here the speedy execution of the orders given for the numbering of the people. It was begun the same day that the orders were given, the first day of the second month. Compare V18 with V1. Note, when any work is to be done for God, it is good to set about it quickly, while the sense of duty is strong and pressing. And, for aught that appears, it was but one day's work, for many other things were done between this and the 20th day of this month, when they removed their camp. Ch 10:11. Joab was almost 10 months numbering the people in David's time, 2 Sa 24:8, but then they were dispersed. Now they lived closely together. Then Satan proposed the doing of it, now God commanded it. It was the sooner and more easily done now because it had been done but a little while ago, and they needed but review the old books, with the alterations since made, which probably they had kept an account of as they occurred. In the particulars here left upon record, we may observe that the numbers are registered in words at length, as I may say, and not in figures. To every one of the 12 tribes it is repeated, for the greater ceremony and solemnity of the account, that they were numbered by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names, to show that every tribe took and gave in the account by the same rule and in the same method, though so many hands were employed in it, setting down the genealogy first, to show that their family descended from Israel, then the families themselves in their order, then dividing each family into the houses, or subordinate families, that branched from it, and under these the names of the particular persons, according to the rules of heraldry. Thus every man might know who were his relations or next of kin, on which some laws we have already met with did depend, besides that the nearer any are to us in relation the more ready we should be to do them good. That they all end with hundreds, only Gad with 50, v 25, but none of the numbers descend to units or tens. Some think it was a special providence that ordered all the tribes just at this time to be even numbers, and no odd or broken numbers among them, to show them that there was something more than ordinary designed in their increase, there being this uncommon in the circumstance of it. It is rather probable that Moses, having some time before appointed rulers of hundreds, and rulers of fifties, ex 18:25, they numbered the people by their respective rulers, which would bring the numbers to even hundreds or fifties. 3. That Judah is the most numerous of them all, more than double to Benjamin and Manasseh, and almost 12,000 more than any other tribe, v 27. It was Judah whom his brethren must praise because from him Messiah the Prince was to descend, but, because that was a thing at a distance, God did in many ways honor that tribe in the meantime, particularly by the great increase of it, for his sake who was to spring out of Judah, Hebrews 7:14, in the fullness of time. Judah was to lead the van through the wilderness, and therefore was furnished accordingly with greater strength than any other tribe. 4. Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, are numbered as distinct tribes, and both together made up almost as many as Judah. This was in pursuance of Jacob's adoption of them, by which they were equaled with their uncles Reuben and Simeon, General 48:5. It was also the effect of the blessing of Joseph, who was to be a fruitful bough, General 49:22. And Ephraim the younger is put first, and is more numerous than Manasseh, for Jacob had crossed hands, and foreseen 10,000s of Ephraim and thousands of Manasseh. The fulfilling of this confirms our faith in the spirit of prophecy with which the patriarchs were endued. 5. When they came down into Egypt, Dan had but one son, General 46:23, and so his tribe was but one family, ch 26:42. Benjamin had then 10 sons, General 46:21, yet now the tribe of Dan is almost double in number to that of Benjamin. Note, the increasing and diminishing of families do not always go by probabilities. Some are multiplied greatly, and again are diminished, while others that were poor have families made them like a flock. PS 107:38, 39, 41, and see Job 12:23. 6. It is said of each of the tribes that those were numbered who were able to go forth to war, to remind them that they had wars before them, though now they were in peace and met with no opposition. Let not him that girdeth on the harness boast as though he had put it off. We have here the sum total at the foot of the account. They were in all 600,000 fighting men, and 3,550 over. Some think that when this was their number some months before, EX 38:26, the Levites were reckoned with them, but now that tribe was separated for the service of God, yet so many more had by this time attained to the age of 20 years as that still they were the same number, to show that whatever we part with for the honor and service of God it shall certainly be made up to us one way of other. Now we see what a vast body of men they were. Let us consider how much went to maintain all these, besides twice as many more, no question, of women and children, sick and aged, in the mixed multitude, for 40 years together in the wilderness, and they were all at God's finding every day, having their food from the dew of heaven, and not from the fatness of the earth. Oh, what a great and good housekeeper is our God, that has such numbers depending on Him and receiving from Him every day. What work sin makes with a people, within 40 years most of them would indeed have died of course for the common sin of mankind, for, when sin entered into the world, death came with it, and how great are the desolations which it makes in the earth. But, for the particular sin of unbelief and murmuring, all those that were now numbered, except 2, laid their bones under their iniquity, and perished in the wilderness. 3. What a great multitude God's spiritual Israel will amount to at last, though at one time, and in one place, they seem to be but a little flock, yet when they come all together they shall be a great multitude, innumerable, Revelation 7:9. And, though the church's beginning be small, its latter end shall greatly increase. A little one shall become 1,000. Care is here taken to distinguish from the rest of the tribes the tribe of Levi, which, in the matter of the golden calf, had distinguished itself, EX 32:26. Note, singular services shall be recompensed with singular honors. Now, it was the honor of the Levites that they were made guardians of the spiritualities, to them was committed the care of the tabernacle and the treasures thereof, both in their camps and in their marches. 1. When they moved the Levites were to take down the tabernacle, to carry it and all that belonged to it, and then to set it up again in the place appointed, v. 50:51. It was for the honor of the holy things that none should be permitted to see them, or touch them, but those only who were called of God to the service. Thus we all are unfit and unworthy to have fellowship with God until we are first called by His grace into the fellowship of His Son Jesus Christ our Lord, and so, being the spiritual seed of that great high priest, are made priests to our God, and it is promised that God would take Levites to Himself, even from the Gentiles, Isa 66:21. When they rested the Levites were to encamp round about the tabernacle, v. 50:53, that they might be near their work, and resident upon their charge, always ready to attend, and that they might be a guard upon the tabernacle, to preserve it from being either plundered or profaned. They must pitch round about the tabernacle, that there be no wrath upon the congregation, as there would be if the tabernacle and the charge of it were neglected, or those crowded upon it that were not allowed to come near. Note, great care must be taken to prevent sin, because the preventing of sin is the preventing of wrath. It was their further honor that as Israel, being a holy people, was not reckoned among the nations, so they, being a holy tribe, were not reckoned among other Israelites, but numbered afterwards by themselves, v. 49. The service which the Levites were to do about the sanctuary is called, as we render it in the margin, a warfare, ch. 4:23. And, being engaged in that warfare, they were discharged from military services, and therefore not numbered with those that were to go out to war. Note, those that minister about holy things should neither entangle themselves, nor be entangled, in secular affairs. The ministry is itself work enough for a whole man, and all little enough to be employed in it. It is an admonition to ministers to distinguish themselves by their exemplary conversation from common Israelites, not affecting to seem greater, but aiming to be really better, every way better than others.